Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Mike Shea here, your FloridaBusinessBroker.com. So I sent out a quick tweet with some direction to listen to our podcast at the Deal Board on the arbitrage opportunity that exists for buying businesses that are in distress or undercapitalized or where the owner is just really, really tired. So I wanted to give you an update and talk a little bit more in depth about that topic. So for years, I have been dealing with clients who buy businesses, grow them, and then flip them. And I used to say, wow, there's a huge corollary between what conglomerates do when they buy up something in the supply chain to increase their margins, or they buy a channel in a correlating vertical to give them opportunities to move their product through. So, the best example that I ever had in my life was when PepsiCo back in the I think it was the late 80s, early 90s, bought up the restaurant chains, Pizza Hut, and it was a Taco Bell and KFC. And the idea behind it at the time was this was the barrel end of the cola wars between Coca-Cola. The highest profit margin revenue item that beverage companies like that have is in their fountain product. And Pepsi was really struggling to get a foothold because Coke had it for literally decades upon decades. I mean, this goes back historically to World War II when they had the sugar contracts for Europe and South America. But anyways, Pepsi bought KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut. Now, pay attention to that. Beans and rice, pizza, and chicken, highly profitable margins. So they were really, really smart. They bought simple products that they could in place Pepsi products into to drive fountain revenues. And that was a really, really strategic move on the part of Roger Enrico back in the day. And if you go read those books about the Cola Wars, and there's a book specifically called The Other Guy Blinked, which is really, really good and a great opportunity. But why do I think it's important for us small business people is that in our businesses, we often hit plateaus. We routinely see people revenue cap from organic growth, and they flatline and they grow again, and then they cap. And revenue sometimes becomes the challenge. You can't keep adding without having to add staffing, and that's a challenge at the small business level because you're competing with sometimes large companies. So for example, here in Orlando, when Disney raises their employment rate to $15 an hour, it's harder to find staff for smaller businesses because there's benefits that are offered, et cetera. So sometimes small business owners should take a look at the bottom half of their P&L and look at or look in their market for competitors who are also stagnating because you're competing against each other, sharing the market, and buy one or the other out. And two things can happen at that point. One is that when you buy out your competitor, you're able to move the pricing up because there are less people, assuming there's a real tough barrier of entry to enter the sector so you don't just recreate more competition. And two, you get organizational efficiencies. So you see it in the medical sector where medical practices are being bought up because the true cost in that business model now is in the administrative billing components. So doctors' offices are being bought up, consolidated under central billing offices, and they're getting efficiencies there. And slowly over time, 10, 15 years, lowering labor. When I had my lawn service, me and my partner bought 5 different lawn companies, routed them together to get logistical efficiencies, consolidated billing, routinely brand name, lowered some of the fixed overhead, and increased efficiencies operationally and drove our margins up about 10 points. So there are lots of business opportunities where private equity type philosophies and strategies can be applied at small business level. So why is that important? When we listen to that podcast today, Andy and Jessica talk about distressed businesses, undercapitalized businesses, and the idea that Andy specifically targeted, which I thought was worthy of a comment, was, are there bad businesses or bad business owners? Bad business owner has a connotation, but I would err on the side that it's a bad business owner because sometimes your skills, talents, the old cell phone went off, skills, talents, passion, capital gets limited. So it sometimes is a good idea to recognize that the business always has an opportunity to improve. And when you're buying those types of situations, do your analysis, look at yourself and be really, really self-actualized about what talents you bring to bear and how you can improve the business that you're targeting and how it will integrate into your operating business you got already. So thought it was worth a comment. Again, I highly encourage you all subscribe, like, follow, share the Deal Board. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all your favorite webcasting platforms for podcasts. Good topics about buying, selling, immigration, accounting, you name it, it's on there. And as always, if you have any questions, give me a call at 321-287-0349. Thanks.